Our guest today knows that copper isn't just another metal. It's the backbone of America's energy, technology, and military future. Matt Horner, the CEO of Falcon Copper, has spent his career bridging continents, capital, and critical resources. Horner knows that copper, which powers everything from smartphones to energy grids, has become more than just a commodity. It's a critical asset that America must maintain and control. From Ballard Studios in the nation's capital, it's 13th and Park.
The hard things that are necessary, we either do it or we'll pay the price down the road.
That often is missing in politics.
We have to solve everything.
It's a nightmare.
You and I can differ, but that doesn't mean you and I cannot be friends.
I have faith in the American people.
Those are the facts.
The Illuminati, right there. Aliens could have invaded and nothing would surprise me at this point.
We went from North Korea to M&M. That's a lot, man.
What's in this tea?
Well, Matt, welcome to the show. You're in studio now, right? How's that feel?
Feels fantastic. Thank you very much for having me.
So they describe copper as the new oil, right? It's kind of at the backbone of everything that America should care about in terms of its future. You know, technology, energy, the military or national defense. So let's break this down for everyone. Start with energy.
Right.
Why is copper so vital to our need for energy independence, if not energy dominance, moving forward?
Let's use some stats to answer that question and connect the dots for people. Every megawatt of power requires about 5 to 6 tons of copper.
That's a lot of copper.
Yeah. An electric vehicle has 200 pounds of copper, 2.5 times more than regular ICE cars. Average American home already has about 400 pounds of copper in each house. It's in the walls, it's in their refrigerators.
I see the copper tea kettle on the stove. That's about it.
That's about it. And sometimes people, if they're smart, they'll use copper on their countertops because it actually has an antibacterial function far better than anything else. You know, a 10-story building in Washington, D.C. carries about 3 to 4 million pounds of copper, enough to power 750 electric vehicles, for example. So copper is necessary for everything as the backbone for what we're doing in modern civilization, full stop.
So energy, you know, a lot of us are concerned, of course, by what's happened in recent years in America with electricity transmission,
right?
The brownout, sometimes a blackout. And there's more and more questions about, are we really ready to not only do a better job of giving Americans a sense of certainty about, you know, the power always being on, but also there's this new thing called AI.
Yeah.
So aren't we entering an unprecedented phase where copper, which is kind of central to all of that, is going to be much more important in determining not only our interest, but even the global competition that we face with China and others who want to get to the same place faster?
You couldn't have said it better. If we don't win the AI war, a lot of bad things happen. Every data center requires a tremendous amount of copper itself. Upgrading the grid requires more copper than we have presently anywhere on the planet. And we're not the only country upgrading its grid. So winning the AI battle requires this fuel of copper to come forward forever. And the United States needs to produce it locally.
How much copper do we have in North America? I mean, do we have enough resource if we decide to go after it to really power this revolution?
With the mining projects that are coming online, we have a chance of keeping up, but we have to actually bring large-scale mining projects online on an annual basis to even have a chance of keeping up with the demand.
Because if we don't, we have to get it from somewhere else.
Correct. So we have friendships and partnerships in other countries, of course, that are helping us do that. But, you know, our company is actually leading 6 copper critical mineral projects, all in the United States, with the support of the United States government to meet that incredible, unquenchable demand.
And those projects are, I think I was reading, are in Arizona, Nevada, Alaska.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
And Montana.
And Montana.
Right. 2 of those projects are joint ventured with Rio Tinto and Freeport-McMoRan, and 2 of them actually are on the Fast 41 transparency dashboard, which means that the government gets out of our way and helps with the permitting process across the boards.
So let's talk about the value of copper, because it's in just about everything that counts with the military.
Okay, so let's break that down. 4,000 pounds of copper in every F-35 fighter jet.
4,000 pounds.
Right. A bigger number, which is also something to keep in your mind as you walk away from this interview, is the USS General Ford has 4 million pounds of copper and copper cabling.
Wow.
4 million pounds. That's a lot. So the DoD already knows this is strategic. We've put in an application to get their support, and I think that's going to be coming to start meeting that need for stockpiling, which is what the Chinese government is doing already. So It is critically important for defense. It's critically important for AI. It's critically important for day-to-day lives of all Americans.
So this goes to what you just said about China. So they're stockpiling. They're stockpiling why?
So they don't get into a pinch where they actually need it and it's not available because they see the future. They see that there are many copper projects online on stream right now, and they don't want to take the risk of something happening to the production in those mines and then being left short where they can't actually feed their local industry to produce the things that they need along the lines of what we just discussed, whether it's defense, whether it's household use, or whether it's AI data centers.
So does China have a lot of copper naturally?
Yes, a tremendous amount. Originally, Japan had a lot of copper. They still actually do. But of course, China's much larger landmass. I was part of a project in Mongolia called Oyu Tolgoi, which is absolutely one of the largest, highest grade producing projects on the planet Earth. Of course, China consumes a lot of copper produced there as well.
Right. They're neighbors with China and Russia.
That's right. Right in between the two.
So going back to what you were saying, if America doesn't kind of aggressively pursue the development of its copper resources, A, we have to get it from somewhere else.
Yes.
B, even if we get it from somewhere else, it's risky because we're then at the whim and mercy of whoever someone else is.
Correct.
And we understand without any debate that the demand on copper, which is going up astronomically already, is going to be even more in demand. I think in 2035, it's supposed to like quadruple the demand. So we know we've got to do it. If we don't do it, we're going to fall behind in critical ways, including the AI, competition on AI, and others are going to fill the vacuum, right?
That's correct. And it's thanks to this administration that they've actually made this decision to start producing it domestically, to reindustrialize the downstream processing so they're not beholden to other countries to process actually the copper concentrate, which is what we're doing now. We have a 50% lack of capacity on downstream processing, which is also very, very important for us to actually make it here, make the actual copper cathode here in the United States of America, which is something else we're doing at our company. Not only do we have 6 upstream mining projects, but we're also looking at downstream processing capacity to meet the requirements of the United States government in conjunction with some of our friends overseas.
So do you have a lot of moments here on Capitol Hill where you're kind of telling the story about why we need this and we need it more than ever, where you had those aha reactions from people that didn't appreciate how much copper is a part of like everything?
Yes, actually also this morning before this meeting, the arms are wide open. Everybody sees the reality. We're meeting no resistance within the United States government for any things we're doing. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's how quickly can you get going? Because they know that it's an imperative that we do this as quickly as we possibly can. From the top on down, everyone in the government and industry is trying to meet this need and fill this void.
I don't think the American public, frankly, knows a lot about the significance of any of this yet.
No.
It's just one of those best kept secret ideas.
I give away time to the UNC Chapel Hill Keating Flagler School. I talk about energy resilience and natural resources down there. And it's a volunteer position where I like to give back and explain to people how this all works. And the first picture I start with is a ham sandwich.
Okay.
And they sit down and they look up at the slide and they say, why is this man standing here with a ham sandwich? I said, well, where do you think this comes from?
Right.
Most of them say, well, Safeway or Harris Teeter.
That's right, from the grocery store, right.
Yeah, I say, well, something has to happen before all that comes together involving pigs and slaughtering, and it's messy upstream. You actually have to do things. You have to actually source and ranch and do all the things to get to a ham sandwich. And people drive around in their EVs and they use their cell phones and their laptops. They have no idea how much mining is responsible and needed for what they're doing. Most people don't connect those dots. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to get the new generation of students to realize the importance of this industry. So we get more of these bright minds to be part of what we're trying to do.
Well, we know if it's a domestic producer in this situation that they're going to be environmentally conscious, and sound, as opposed to other suppliers around the world, which will not do the same thing. I had this experience in the industry of nutrients, fertilizer, where America is trying to produce more and more of its own. But when they import it from other areas, from other countries, I won't name the countries, I mean, you talk about the environmental degradation is like staggering. So another part of this is you're mining responsibly.
That's right.
As opposed to mining recklessly.
Correct. I'm married to an environmental lawyer.
Okay.
She's dedicated her life to making sure that we do things responsibly. Sometimes creates for interesting dinner conversation between the mining guy and the environmental lawyer, but absolutely correct. And the work that we're doing downstream and upstream, it's with the best-in-class technologies. So any smelter facilities are being online are with the best available technologies worldwide will be coming from Japan, which is a country that produces and smelts and refines copper for us and other countries all the time. So we're getting the best available technology that's out there.
So you've had, again, experience in Mongolia, South Africa, the Congo, but Japan is a very special part of both your work and your personal life. What is that connection with Japan? Why is that so vital?
Well, it started when I was 18 with my father, who brought me an article about how there are only 20 bilingual international lawyers at the time. I was probably working a summer job, and I said, that sounds interesting. And I set off my path. And throughout my career, I've always wanted to be a bridge builder between governments and industries, and Japan, the United States. Bridge building was something that I set out to do. In fact, my application to USC talked about that when I went to undergrad, to actually create some sort of a bilateral framework for continued commercial success. So that's my background going back many, many, many years. So I first went to Japan 35 years ago. I worked as a lawyer, international lawyer for a large U.S. law firm, representing Japanese and American clients, doing cross-border deals, Goldman Sachs, and all the rest. And then I was brought into this big mining company called Ivanhoe Mines. But I always maintained the relationships with our Japanese partners. We conducted very large financing packages for the Japanese to get them the critical minerals and copper they need from other countries outside the United States. So you can imagine they're very excited to be doing work with us for advancing projects in the United States in copper, which is what they desperately need forever and ever. If copper stops flowing into their country, their economy stops. Literally stops. They can't make cars or computers or anything else. Right. It just stops. So we're there all the time, and we have a lot of friends over there, and we really appreciate their support.
So I was trying to put the pieces of your career together. So you start off at USC, Southern Cal, fight on to UVA Law, and then you started into this industry, and most recently, obviously, and now as the CEO of Falcon Copper. What propelled you to move down this path? Was there like a mentor, a significant experience that gave you that moment of, I understand now what I'm here to do?
Resource resilience for the United States has always been something top of mind. The founder and executive chairman, Travis Noggle, who put all these land packages together, which was a Herculean effort. It's the largest portfolio of privately held copper and critical mineral assets, period, in Falcon Copper. And so that's all due to the great work of Travis, our executive chairman. But what got me here, this arc of my life, is all the work I've been doing outside this country, my interest in actually seeing the need and necessity of natural resources to keep civilization going. And knowing that most people are unaware of how important that is. And educating the crowd, educating the world about these requirements is something I've always felt very passionate about. And this specific moment in time seems to be where all the stars are lining up. We have an administration that's very supportive. It's a time when we have to be doing this to be resilient versus other countries, so that we have our own domestic mining production and downstream processing, so that we're not always at the whim of another country, as you mentioned. And we have these assets in our portfolio that we're moving ahead. And now we have a Japanese-U.S. trade agreement that supports everything I'm saying. So the stars have definitely aligned. The support of the U.S. government, as I mentioned, from the president to the Commerce Department secretary there, secretaries of defense, Department of War. So across the boards, it's been, sometimes I have to pinch myself to say, I'm finally getting to exactly what I want to be doing at this time in my life for the right reasons. This is a legacy project. We're a 100% American-owned company, 100% managed, all of the executive team, all of the geologists. We have the former exploration geologist for Rio Tinto for the Americas is our VPX. The team is just brilliant across the board. And we're all completely American, all doing it for the right reasons. All the shareholders are American. And that's very important to us. And we'll work with very trusted partners like the Japanese, because they're very trustworthy and they're our friends forever. But primarily, we're a U.S. company for American interests.
I get from you a sense of urgency about this also.
Oh, yes. And this is something that it's completely different from what it used to be.
Yeah.
This could be happening in a matter of weeks and months versus 10, 15 years, which is something this country needs now. There has to be this imperative, this feeling of urgency to actually get going. And they're looking for American companies that'll be American operated to help American interests. So we feel very passionate about this. We're excited about getting going and educating everybody how important this is, putting something together that we can talk about openly, and looking forward to a future where the United States is very, very self-reliant, has its own resources. It's domestically producing all the resources that it needs.
Mhm.
And also it'll have to be doing smart deals in other countries, like in the African continent. The United States is woefully behind because of how it let the Chinese government come in there, because they were kind of asleep at the wheel. And there were a lot of things that were happening that didn't allow the United States to actually activate there in the way it should have. There wasn't enough focus put on there, but now I think that it's changing. And having worked literally in 25 countries and been to all sorts of places, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and
Mhm.
Mongolia for a long, long time. I've been there. I've been to places that most people haven't even heard of.
Yeah.
To look at these resource deals. And it's incredibly difficult. You need to have social license to operate. You need to be in with communities, understand many, many multiple layers of complexity and relationships and negotiations have to happen. And so it's not going to be easy, but the mission is worth it. What we're doing is actually worth the fight, and we're going to get there because we have a supportive government and we're doing it for the right reasons. And the American public is going to benefit for many generations to come.
This administration, I can editorialize for a second, they're trying to fast track a lot of things.
Yes.
Right? That would normally we're on the slow road to nowhere, right?
Yes.
And when you think about this in the context of global competition,
Yes.
and you look at People's Republic of China, if they want to do something, they start doing it. They're not going through all the approval process and whatever. And there's some real downsides to that. But I like the fact that this administration, this government says we're going to be built for speed.
That's
Like,
right.
let's get going. And what you're putting on the table speaks for itself in terms of if we don't have it, the alternatives are not ones we want to spend much time looking at, right?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
So, as a filmmaker for many years, I see life through a camera lens, right? So you must feel the same when you're looking at a cell phone or you're looking at an automobile.
That's right.
Or an F-35 fighter jet. You look at it differently, right? You see where the copper is in each one of those things.
That's right. Copper, critical minerals, aluminum, steel, all the things that are the building blocks of these things we use every day.
Yeah.
The car you get into, or the train, airplane, if we don't have mining, it doesn't exist. We cannot actually function in modern society without these things.
So when you teach your next class at UNC, instead of the ham sandwich, you'll have the cell phone, the automobile, and
Sure.
and the transmission line, right?
Those are slides 2 and 3. Usually.
Those are slides 2 and 3?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah. I connect the dots pretty quickly, but I like to shock the audience a little bit and let them know how important these things are, how important the upstream components are of our everyday lives, because that's what we're talking about here. And the domestic supply of what we are consuming.
Yep.
And we can do recycling for a lot of these things for
Mhm.
copper downstream, which will also help in the demand, meeting the demand. But fundamentally, we need to fast track a lot of the mining projects. My former partners at Ivanhoe Electric are doing a great project in Arizona. Other projects out there and companies that are doing great work too.
Yep.
And it's not just us.
Yep.
We're a team of a couple of companies out there that are trying to meet this demand.
Good for you.
So I root for everybody's success. And I think we're going to be one of a team that's actually trying to working hard every single day to make sure that the president and the administration get what they are asking for in a fast timeline. As I mentioned, we're already been approved for 2 of our projects in the Fast 41 Transparency Dashboard, which is an extremely positive signal. I've been asked to go back to Tokyo in a couple of weeks, which I'll be going there and then bouncing back to DC after that. And then hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll have something to talk about publicly.
Well, Matt, I admire what you do. I love the fact you come from USC.
Yes.
There is that group of Americans who really understand what college and football should be about.
Absolutely.
Right. And I really wish you the best, because if we don't get our act together and move quickly, right, we are going to fall behind.
Definitely.
And we don't have to.
Yes.
It's all right there in front of us, right? We just have to say, let's go.
Absolutely. And remember, we're building something under the ground.
Yeah.
If you imagine how long it would take to build a building of 10 stories or 15 stories, you're building something in the air. What we're talking about is building something below the earth after drilling it off.
Yeah.
So it takes a bit longer. You can do it if you know how to do it, but it takes a lot longer. So yes, we need to get going. We can't hesitate. We have to move fast. And I think we have all the components, people, team. As our partners in Japan like to say, it's the right time, the right people, and the right opportunity to meet the need today.
Well, Matt Horner, CEO of Falcon Copper, thanks for being on the show. Go Trojans.
Absolutely.
Right? And best of luck.
Thank you so much, Adam, for your support. Appreciate it.
Take care of yourself.